Welcome back to We the People. Today we are starting something new called Community Conversations. We want to have meaningful discussions on issues that affect you, affect our community, of course. So today's topic, Cuyahoga County has the highest number of children in custody waiting for adoption for placement in a foster home that they have had in years. So we have some questions today. Why are there so many children in foster care, and what are some of the misconceptions of adoptions? Here to kick off today's conversation are Beverly Torres from Cuyahoga County Division of Children and Family Services, foster and adoptive parent Marilyn Steele, along with pediatric psychologist and foster parent herself, Dr. Katrina Lindsay. All right. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here and being involved in this conversation. It's a very important conversation that we all need to have. And really, you talk about thousands of children in your custody waiting for a home.
Yes. We currently have a little under 3,000 children in care in Cuyahoga County, and over 600 of them are in need of a permanent loving family.
And so why do you think that is? Why are you seeing it more?
You know, the opioid crisis is starting to hit Cuyahoga County. And since 2017, we've had a 30% increase of kids in care. And I believe it is part of the opioid crisis that we're starting to see our numbers creep up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what has that been like for you in your work and what you're doing? Does it make it a little bit more difficult?
It does, because caseloads increase. And so you want to be able to make sure you're meeting the individual needs of a child, but when caseloads increase, it makes it a little more difficult to put in the exact time and effort that every single case needs.
And so, Marilyn, you've adopted children.
Yes.
You're a foster parent for years.
Foster adopt for years.
Yeah, and so have you noticed the change as well? Are you bringing in more children? And
my children that I bring in are reunification, so they have been pulled from their homes for various reasons. So I get them, and sometimes they are there for less than 45 days or a year, and they 100% go back home.
Oh, that's great.
So I nurture them to go back home.
Okay. And why have you decided to take on being a foster parent? I don't want to call it a challenge. I mean, is that a wrong term to say?
No, I would call it a caregiver.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A caregiver is someone who's concerned about the stability of a person, who's concerned about the care of a person. You want to help that person to advance in life. When I adopted mine, and I stayed in this system because you see other children in the system, and it just, you have to have a heart for it though. And that my heart is when you see a child come to you and they cry coming. I was telling the girls earlier, when that child walks in my home and they're crying, I cry with them, and I tell them, I am so sorry that you are here, but things are going to get better. And I do also let them know, I don't know when, but they'll get better.
All right.
So, yes, I enjoy it. I enjoy fostering children. I enjoy seeing where they were at to where they are going to where they're going to be. I enjoy seeing the growth mentally and physically with these kids. So my children are always seeing that lovable growth.
That's what helps us do our job a little better, is having partners out in the community that help support our children. That's what makes our job easier. So even though we're feeling the stress, having someone like Miss Steele be a foster and adoptive parent does make it a lot easier. We have a community that's wrapping their arms around these children and making them be okay.
Yes.
And a lot of times too, you're not just fostering the child, you're fostering the family, right? So you're providing good attachment role models for family. You might be the only source of support for that biological mother or father. So you're really stepping into their family and fostering everybody.
And
I agree with that.
And you know what I've heard, and just even recently over this past weekend, I heard people talking about, you know, having that adoptive child or that child that they're fostering, but it being a challenge and it being difficult, and you're having to deal with some of the things that, you know, maybe they've come from a broken place and now they're coming to you. I can only imagine, like, how do you deal with that? Because that would be one of my concerns. You know, I've thought about, do I want to adopt one day? Would I be interested in that? And I think that's a concern of mine. Like, how can I help this child? What do I have to give?
So we often call that the invisible suitcase, right? So every child that comes into care comes from a traumatic event. And regardless of how comfortable your home is that you're providing, separating from that parent is a traumatic event. So being trauma informed and providing a consistent, loving, supportive place for when that child lands in your home, that is the definition of success in foster and adoptive care.
Is that where training comes into? I mean, you're not just thrown. Are you not just thrown into it? I can only imagine.
No, you. In order to become a licensed foster and adoptive parent, you do have to go through hours of training, and the training is very detailed, very in-depth. It's very trauma-informed, like the doctor was just saying, to really help you understand when a child comes to your home, their individual trauma is going to be different. And how do you personalize their care to meet their needs and meet them where they're at? And that's a lot of what the training talks about.
And then the training stays throughout your whole, as long as you are a foster adopt caregiver. We have to do so many hours per year, and there are awesome classes that helps you need what you, I always say, just give me some ammunition that I can go on to help this child. So you have they offer so many classes every year. And there are great professors and teachers that teach them to you. So it is a requirement to keep you on top of being that trained, skilled, nurturing caregiver.
And so, you know what, we posted this on social media. We wanted to talk to our viewers, you know, have you considered becoming a foster parent or adoption? And so there were a few responses. Some people were saying, you know, they love it. They've had a great time. If you have any questions, let me know, because I posted it, right? And I, you know, and so it was great. But one thing that was of concern, and I'm trying to find it here. Okay. Well, I can remember what she said. She talked about concerns over looking deeply into the backgrounds of potential. One major concern I have is how deep will the adoption agency look into myself and my husband? I heard some stories about agencies looking into finances, personal records. Now I understand some of the background digging, but goodness, I don't want to disclose everything. However, maybe I'm feeling this way because I don't know the process. Is there some sort of comfort level you can provide for people?
Sure. Clearly, there are state regulations to require you to become a foster or adoptive parent, and we do have to look into your background. Typically, getting a home study can take between 4 to 6 months because we need to make sure that your home is up to the standards of the state to become a licensed foster and adoptive parent. We do ask for people's finances, but you just have to be able to financially meet the needs of your own family at the time you're becoming a foster parent. So you don't have to have a certain amount of income or status to be able to be a foster parent. So even though we're looking into your background, you don't have to have, there's no specific requirements as long as you can meet the own needs of your family.
And so speaking of financial, there's this proposal to offer low-interest loans to families looking to adopt. Talk about the help that is out there. It can be expensive.
Yeah. Well, what's nice about adopting from a public children's services agency like Cuyahoga County, there's very little to no cost to you at all. And once you become a licensed foster or adoptive parent, we have supports within our agency that can assist families even after adoption. We have a whole unit in my department that supports adoptive families called the Post-Adoption Subsidy Unit. And we have families that call us all the time because they don't know where to go for help or what to do, and we provide that support for them.
There's also emotional support too. So in my county of Summit, there's a large parent support group. There's a large Facebook presence. So that's a great sounding board for families that might be dealing with attachment, or maybe need diapers, or are looking for some feedback or ideas. So there's a good level of emotional support too.
Are there any other myths, do you think, out there about becoming a foster parent or adoptive parent?
Oh, well, there are a lot of myths. You know, you get the county don't give you all the information you need to know about that child. That's a myth. You get it at a time, but you get it. You know what I mean? I was kind of upset in the beginning too. Why come I didn't get this information about this kid? But I got it. With a big old packet. but you get it.
Okay.
The myth of you can't turn them back in. You know what I mean? The myths. There are quite a few myths. What are some of the other myths?
That you have to be married in order to
Yes.
adopt. You can be single or be in a relationship for at least a year with a partner. You can live in an apartment. You can own your own home. You don't have to own a home in order to become a foster or adoptive parent.
And also that the kids in care are bad. Usually these
Yes.
are very normal kids going through very tough circumstances. So the behavior that you might see that would be air quote as bad is probably just grief, right? So we know that kids go through the stages of grief just like adults. So they're normal kids going through hard circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. This was a great conversation that we've had today. And we really hope that it helps someone out there if they're considering fostering or adopting, to help them understand the process, and that there are myths out there, that this is really a great thing. So we also want to tell you, for more information, you can go to everychildneedsfamily.com and akronchildrens.org. There's a wonderful PSA that is out right now too. I don't know if we're going to have time to share that today, but if not, we'll definitely post it on our social media on Facebook when we leave here today. So definitely contact us, WKYC, We the People, WKYC on Facebook, as well as our Instagram pages as well. Reach out to us. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll present it to these ladies and get back to you. We'll be back.
This segment of We the People was furnished by the Cuyahoga County Health and Human Services Department.